got to give a chance to turn to the left or turn to the right before you give the next twitch. Otherwise, you're not getting the full action out of this bait. However, once you do get it right, they lash out. Good day everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just something that I do this time of the year that I think is very relevant. You know, a lot of guys are focused on catching spawning fish, which is all good. I mean, hunting a bass, sitting on a nest, whatever, that's all good. They can hunt them, but there's other ways of catching them as well, more productive ways in terms of numbers. Might not always get all the sizes you want, but there's some big fish mixed in as well, as I will show in some of the pictures. I can call this a 1-2-3 punch, I suppose. Basically what I do is I have 3 baits that I target these fish with. You've got to choose your areas, meaning you've got to be close to a spawning flat. So ideally you want a flattish area, anything from about ranging from 2 feet up to the 7 feet range. You know, not too deep, not too shallow. That's generally where you're going to find them. Some timber on it so that there's an area for them to spawn on. Gravelly, not a muddy bank. They don't like mud. This is obviously going to be more targeted towards newer bass fishermen and women. Maybe some of us will assist some of the seasoned anglers as well, but let's see. Okay, so what I do is, first of all, I look for an area. Flat, it's close to deep water, with the right structure and cover for the fish. Then I have 3 baits that I generally use. First off, spinnerbait. The specific one is bleeding shad, archer spinnerbait. You can find this on the BWG site. Very nice spinnerbait. Actually, it was the first time that I started using it now, and very impressed so far. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see that there. That's what I call it, the archer. So I did tune it a little bit, did close it up a little bit so I can speed up. I want it to be relatively fast. Now, tuning it is, you're just closing the blades up so that it doesn't rise as quickly. But when you do this, be careful. You want to make sure that your blade, everything is still in line, otherwise the spinnerbait will start doing that, and that's not what you want to have. You want it running through. Okay, so that's the first bait. Second up, I would follow up with a black and red fluke, just a frisky shad from BWG as well. I've got this paired up with a 4-aught, pretty heavy wire hook. I need a heavy wire hook because I'm fishing it weightless, but I'm working it quite fast, so I want to, you know, make it stay under the water. And then the third one would be the hyper jig. Sorry. Now this is the worst name in the world for someone with a lips like me. 6th century shad. Okay, all jokes aside, awesome little bait. And in my previous video I mentioned that I haven't used it yet, I think, but it would be similar to a fluke, and it really is. So it's a good alternative. Alright, so what I did now recently at a local dam, pretty clean water, overcast skies. Now what happens then is fish start getting loose, meaning they start roaming around. So when you have those conditions and you catching one fish every 15-20 minutes and you think, I'm having an awesome day, a lot of the times you can have a phenomenal day. You're not even getting into the fish properly then. And this is what happened to me 2 days ago. On the 2nd of September, I went to a local dam. It was nice overcast, a little bit of a drizzle, clear water. Found a couple of spawning flats with deeper water close to it. So what I would do is, I take the spinnerbait. I'll basically just stay on the move. I'll move around. I'll take the spinnerbait and I'll start fishing with it. The second I catch a fish on the spinnerbait, you know that you're into aggressive fish, because they're generally going to be aggressive when they go for spinnerbait. So as soon as I catch a fish, I would stop moving and I'll start fan casting with the spinnerbait, see if I can pick up anything else. If nothing else happens on the spinnerbait, I would go to the second bait, the fluke or frisky shad. Start casting this around. It's a little bit slower. Generally, I'll start picking up a couple more fish in the same area. Once a bite starts dying on this, then you drop that and you pick up the little harbor jerk. Just one thing about this bait. Yes, it's a harbor jerk, you can fish it pretty fast, but the second you start speeding it up, the bait does this. It's a harbor jerk. It doesn't really dart left to right, so you've got to get your timing right. Try and work it. It's slow sinking, so give it a couple of seconds to get down to like 2 feet or whatever below, and then it's a twitch, pause kind of thing. Nearly like walking a bait, like a top water bait. You've got to give it a chance to turn to the left or turn to the right before you give the next twitch. Otherwise, you're not getting the full action out of this bait. However, once you do get it right, they lash out. So that's basically it for me for this time of year. Look for those big flats. On overcast days, generally the fish start moving. You're basically targeting pre-spawn fish. Fish that's looking for nests, that's roaming around. I can't think of too many better ways of doing this. I know there is going to be some anglers that use different techniques, but this is something that works for me. Having these 3 baits with me this time of the year, in the right conditions, I can guarantee you I will catch fish, and I will catch a couple of good ones. I'll put in a few photos just to show you guys what I mean. And these were all in one day. I have caught, well, unfortunately, I didn't have a trailer hook with me, which cost me a nice big fish, but nonetheless, I think I got a 2.65 on this one, and then a couple of, I think a 1.75 was the biggest on this, and a whole bunch of 1 kilos, and then also about a 1.2, 1.4, somewhere in that region. Good fish, awesome day out. So yeah, try it out. A little 1, 2, 3 punch. Get yourself a spinnerbait, fluke, and a harbor jerk, and go try this out. Just look for the right kind of structure, meaning a nice flat with good cover on it, where the bass can actually spawn. Doesn't help you just got a flat and there's nothing for them to spawn on. Even though they're spawning, they still want to feel safe. So when they're spawning, they're going to be close to like a lay down stump or maybe a standing tree, but in the right depth of water, they'll be spawning right up against it, barring that it's got the right bottom. Okay, so that's it for me. We'll be back soon with a couple more bits, I hope. See you guys soon. Take care. Enjoy.